the second episode of Learner's Mic. Today, on the occasion of World English Day, we have a very special person with us who has changed her profession and got into teaching just for the passion of teaching English. Let me introduce Miss Frenny. Hi, Frenny ma'am, how are you?
I'm good. Hello, everyone. Greetings for the day. Before we move on to today's discussion, Charu ma'am, thank you so much for inviting me for today's podcast. And I'm glad that both of us are connecting again. Looking forward to this discussion, especially on a day like this, World English Day. Let me tell you, I was not even aware that there is a World English Day, but thanks to you that you have taken this role of reaching out to students, because both of us know learning is important for our children more than anything else.
Thank you so much, Frenny ma'am. It is my pleasure hosting you. So let's start with our conversation. So,
Sure.
Frenny ma'am, as far as I know, you were in corporate earlier and you are doing really great there. But what made you come to teaching and why only English? Why, what is
Why
so
only?
special about English that you wanted to teach English
Mhm,
itself? Because as far as
mhm.
I know the background you are from, you were good in math, you were good in social, you were good in science. Why you had to choose English as a subject for teaching?
All right. So I'm sure, Charu ma'am, that you're aware that COVID times, it was disastrous. A lot of people lost lives, but my prayers to the departed souls. Still, we are coming back to life. In fact, it was not a smooth transition, but you would also agree that COVID was a time when a lot of people found a lot of opportunities. So this happened just by chance that my daughter used to sit for her online classes, and we used to participate in the quiz and the spell bees that the teachers of grade one conducted back then in 2020. And they were like amazed at how a grade one child knows difficult spellings like hippopotamus or rendezvous or any other, even elephant at grade one, how a child can spell. So the very first initiative came from my daughter's teachers herself, and then gradually I started taking online art classes. uh, when the second wave came in, there were children who were coming to me to learn art, and there were a lot of neighbors who could not, who would not speak in Hindi, especially down south. They would not know Hindi, so the only way of communication was English. And a lot of them told me that, your pronunciation, your diction, how you speak, your vocabulary is so good. Why don't you look at, teaching English? Already you are a teacher, you teach art so very well, but why not, let's look at English. And going back to my childhood, I always remember my teachers, they motivated me a lot. Since you're aware, I come from a PR and marketing background. I really did not want to go back there, and I found my calling in teaching only because for the love of children. So the way I connect with children, even I'm amazed that how children bond very well with me. And why only English? Because I think my grammar, my vocab, and my knowledge about English is good, and hence I'm here as an English teacher.
That's really great, Freddy ma'am. I think that's the thing common between us. We both are found our calling in teaching. We both
Absolutely.
came from like corporate background and then joined teaching, and all we wanted to do is just interact with the children, interact with parents, make sure the children are on track, that children are growing. Right. So, Freddy ma'am,
Absolutely.
like what techniques do you see? Math, I know like what techniques I use while teaching, but English, I wanted to know how, because English is a very important subject that is the base for interaction in students. So what techniques do you use in your classroom, and especially now smart boards have come and all those things, and or like we can show videos, we can show a lot of presentations to students. So what techniques do you use in your classroom?
Charu ma'am, you're aware that it's been 3 years that I've been into teaching. So I have not taught the bigger classes when you go to middle school or higher school. I have been a primary teacher as of now. Um there are various tools that you can use. um, so I would like to, first get into what a classroom looks like to me. For a teacher like me, I always look at the enthusiasm of kids. When a child is coming to the school, he's coming with a lot of varied thoughts, that I'm going to enter my class. What are the kind of teachers? They come with their own set of fears. They come in with their own set of confidence levels. Those who are from English medium background, they would always know that, yeah, my English is good, and I can impress my English teacher and I will do really well. But then there are students who come with set fears that, my English is not good. Probably I don't speak English. I don't know what will happen today, whether my English teacher will like me or not. Why only English teacher? Why other subject teachers will like me or not? So what I do is I take my time to understand these children first. Any teacher, needs that kind of time to spend with these children, about 2 to 3 weeks, to understand what level of English are they comfortable with. So of course, when it comes to tools, there are differentiated, tools that you can use. For some, visual aids work. So there are recorded stories that we can look at. Like you mentioned, there are smart screens in the classrooms. So there are recorded videos, there are recorded stories, audios, nursery rhymes, uh, poems, short stories. All of that really works well with primary grade children. When I'm talking about grade 1 and 2, when you progress to grade 3 and 4, a lot of other tools come into light. Say for example, debates, right? Children love to speak. As they grow, they want to tell about their stories. They want to connect as to how, they picked up a book and they were reading and they want to discuss with the English teacher in the classroom. So these are some ways that I identify with children according to the needs and according to the lesson plan for the day. Yeah.
I understand. So, Frenny ma'am, just now you told us some you first have to understand at like child's English is at what level. So I hope you would have
Absolutely.
found the children who are like too good in English and some who are just at the beginner level. And
Yeah.
all set of students are in one class. So
Yeah.
how do you manage that and how do children respond to it?
So in any classroom, say for example, I will give you an example of grade 2. There are 20 children, all right, and I always believe that there are three categories of children. I don't want to, give any terminologies to these children. This is depending on the pace of their learning. So I identify children as, some of them are quick learners, the second set are mediocre learners, and the third set are slow learners. And it is all on their pace of learning. It's nothing to do with how I, specified quick, mediocre, or
I
slow
understand
learners.
when we have a set
Yes,
of students, we have to
yes,
we have to divide them. We have no option being a
absolutely,
teacher because
absolutely,
the set of students who are at beginner level, we have to pay more attention to them.
correct,
And the
correct.
set of students who are at a level that yes, as per this say they are fine, we feel
Yes,
that okay, they are able to manage on their own. So
yes,
as a teacher, our attention gets divided into three categories, and I'm sure
absolutely,
when I am also teaching math, I have some students who are like who don't know the basics,
yes,
some
absolutely.
students who are too good, and all I have to
Hmm.
do them is I have to give them a problem which they can solve on their own,
I
right?
agree, I
And in
agree.
English also, I feel the same thing. And as you're telling, when I joined school, I was not that good in English.
Uh-huh,
I was not
uh-huh.
that good in
Okay.
English. And till today, I thank my teachers. I still remember their names also, Miss Sarabjeet and Miss Harpreet. They were the
Absolutely.
biggest supporters. Like,
Yeah,
and an
yeah.
English teacher has to be very creative in class
Absolutely.
because
You have to bring in not only creativity, I call it the fun way of learning. You
that
have
is
to
true.
have that, that kind of connect with your children. Not every child would come to the classroom with a nice mood. Some are, probably something has happened at home, or probably, they didn't feel like coming to school today. They wanted to spend time with parents, but they were
They
forced to
wanted
send,
to sleep in the morning.
yeah, they
That
wanted to
also comes
sleep
as an
probably.
excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you have to have that understanding, and you have to be quick about it, that, how do you turn around that low energy into a growing confidence.
That
So
is true.
so
And
playtime,
I
I
still
think
feel
playtime
that
is,
more
yeah.
than other subjects class, children love English class.
They love
Children
English
just live
class
in.
for a variety of reasons, because there is no logic in it. There are just set rules, and there is a lot of fun. There is a lot of games. There is a lot of activities around. So just to give you a small example, children at grade one level know nouns as naming words, right? And at grade two level, they're introduced to the concept of nouns. So, a basic thing like, look around children and, identify some of the things that you see in the class. What are your friends' names? Uh, what are the places you visited during your vacation? So, these kind of interactive things makes them comfortable as well. It's not rote learning, jo rattafication we say, right? So it's not in
Yeah.
rote learning. It's not like they have to memorize anything. So a teacher needs to have that element of making it interactive. We don't want to go by boring lectures. And today's generation, like they call it, Gen Z is what they are called. They're very quick, they're smart, they're fast. I think at the age of 6 months, when we introduce solids to kids, parents have already started introducing nursery rhymes, showing them videos, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or any Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. So I think our children are also very smart there. Let's um, praise parents that they are introducing children to such concepts at that level, though it has its negative effects
And I
also.
think the first thing they introduce them to, I think the first thing they introduce them to is English itself. I
English
still
itself,
remember when my
absolutely.
sister was, huh, when my sister was just like 1.5 to 2 years old, the first thing they started like, you start writing A, then B, and all those things. So the first thing we introduce a child is to English.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you because, English is a common global language, you would agree. Not only at school level, even for your competitive exams, your question papers are in English, right? They're not in Hindi or any. With my due respect, I give importance to all the languages across India. And being a multilingual country, there are
Every language is
different.
important.
Every language is important, but the competitiveness, the job interviews you go for, or even for for your further studies, when you step out and you want to go to when you want to visit any country, Australia or Americas, English becomes a common language for everyone to connect, right?
Yes,
So
we'll come to that and discuss that in even more detail. I have those questions
sure,
lined up for me, right?
sure, sure.
And next thing is like you were talking that we divide class into three categories, and then how do children respond to it, and how do you manage all three set of children in your class?
So there is a difficulty when it comes to slow learners because they need a lot of time. Their pace of learning, may not be as good as the quick learners. So what happens is, for the quick learners, I always go in my classroom with at least 4 to 5 activities. I keep these things ready at least 2 weeks prior, understanding that my children might need more revision, they might need more help. So for quick learners, I always have separate worksheets ready. I engage them in worksheet because that's what they learn. That's what they like, and they want to, do it quickly, and then they want to be free. कि हाँ मुझे आता है, I know it, I want to do it, and I want to get free. So you have to devise various ways. So worksheets is one that you can look at. Now the second, the mediocre learners, I always go back, collaborative learning. So I engage them in group discussions. I would, classify them into a group. The quick learners would be a separate group. The mediocre learner would be a separate group. So separate activities for separate, pace of learnings. The
Depending
slow
on at
learners,
what. Correct.
absolutely. The slow learners who need the major kind of attention, I think they need more support. So I devise ways and strategies not only for school, I also, speak to parents, and not only during parent-teacher meeting. I just pick up my phone, and then, I tell them that this is what I've observed, or through a diary note, or, through WhatsApp, I just tell them that, this is what the child needs help with. And I give those strategies to parents to, to use it at home. And
Hmm.
thanks to today's Instagram and Facebook and YouTube tutorials, that parents are also becoming very smart. They want to learn phonics. uh, as a parent, when sorry, I should say as a student, back then there was no phonics. It was there, but we were taught ABCD as just sounds of ABCD. CVC
That is
sounds,
true. That
syllables, how to devise spellings, magic E like cake. Why we don't call it cake A? Because E comes in the last, right? The E is the magic
yeah.
E, the silent E in the end. So all these strategies parents would not be aware about. So sharing these
That
strategies
is true.
openly
And
with
I feel
parents.
till now when we discuss English, and the
Yes,
first thing what we ask to an English teacher is that why KNOW is no, why it is not no, that these kind of things. So when we were learning, it was
absolutely.
like it is no, just learn it that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
today's generation is not that way. They ask that question. And
Absolutely.
as a
Like I
teacher,
said,
we
we
have
were we
to be
were
ready
born
with the
and brought
answer.
up with rote learning. Just memorize it the way you want. But there are set rules, and trust me, there are so many tips and tricks out there. To give you an example, how to identify proper noun. It is very easy for us, but for a child, if you give that, or to the parent also, if you give that trick, it becomes easier. You recognize proper nouns by capitalization. All right. And how do you know that your name is always capitalized, your surname is always capitalized? You live in a city called Bengaluru, so Bengaluru's B is capitalized, so it's a proper noun, right? So these are small little things that, if you share with parents, it becomes easier for them also to, understand. And it's not always textbookish, like I say. So with growing, like I said, YouTube tutorials like Phonics, there are lots of resources out there that, parents can access. Of course, we are also
But
there as
how
teachers
much
to,
ever
support.
resources are available, how much ever resources are available, I just feel that nothing can replace a teacher. Nothing can
Nothing
replace a
can
bond
replace a
child
teacher.
has
Yes,
with a teacher.
absolutely.
Right. So, Frenny ma'am, what
Mhm.
I understood from you is that English is very, very vast, especially at an early education level where a
Yeah,
child is just budding. We need to understand that he needs a lot of time, or he needs a lot of uh, support from the teacher.
yeah,
But how
yeah.
is the curriculum supporting the child? Is the curriculum updated? And what do you think are the changes which are required in the curriculum? We are talking about
Uh,
CBSE curriculum right now
mhm,
because
mhm.
we both are teaching in that curriculum itself, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's a very valid question, Charu ma'am. What I feel is, back then when I was a student, this was like almost 25 to 30 years ago, when I was at, grade 3, grade 4 level, we just had grammar, right? We just had to learn the basic rules of grammar. What are nouns, what are adjectives, what are verbs? But today, I think curriculum has changed a lot. Apart from grammar, uh, when I entered teaching, I was surprised that there were two streams of English. One was language arts, or English language arts, is as it's called, and one was English literature. Now, literature back then in our times was introduced only grade 8 level. Understanding
Grade 8
prose,
level.
poems, reading books. All right. And now CBSE has evolved it, and literature can be inculcated as a curriculum. And I'm surprised that a lot of schools, even government schools, like I was having a discussion with my maid's son the other day. He comes to me for a lot of help on spellings and how to make sentences. So he was telling me कि हाँ हम भी अभी बुक इंग्लिश के बुक आया है हमारे स्कूल में भी, बट मेरे को रीडिंग नहीं आता है, आप मेरे को हेल्प करेंगे. So I'm surprised that how the curriculum has evolved. But there is a bit of a rigidity when it comes to private schools specifically. I may not know what runs into government schools, but every schools has its own ways of learning, devising lesson plans. So I think those schools need to move away from this rigidity and let the teacher use her creativity. Let her bring in that creativity in the lesson plan. It's not like set objective hai, procedure hai, activity करना है, class work करना है, हो गया. No, it should not be like that. It should not be a
Correct.
set
So
process.
we should,
It needs to be more
what
creative.
what
Uh,
what many viewers won't know that yes, when we go to class, we teachers are given a specific instruction that you have to do this
Absolutely.
only. We
Yes.
can't modify it as per student. So that
Yes.
thing should be removed because a
Hmm.
teacher knows a student better. We go to
Absolutely.
class, we have 30 set of students, sometimes we have 50 set of students, and
Correct.
we know how to interact with children. And
Children.
her
Absolutely.
student, for example, if we both are teaching English, her students may not be same as mine. So I may have to use different method, she may have
Yes.
to use different method. So it all depends
Absolutely.
on our class. So
On
that
our class,
scripted thing,
on our students
that
specifically,
is
because
true.
you would agree that a lot of children come from vernacular backgrounds who don't, maybe both the parents do not know English so well. So what do you do with these kind of children? The management or
That
the
is
school
the
will not
that is the
know.
question asked by one of our viewers also, that how
Okay.
to support a child that when both the parents are not that good in English.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we spend half an hour to 45 minutes with children in class, one period, but
absolutely.
they spend most of their time at home. And a child
Absolutely.
should get equal support from home also. So they are like, we are not that fluent in English. So how do I
Correct.
support my child? So that question, if you can answer, please.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are a lot of things for such kind of children. I always, now today's children, because they already have digital tools available at home, I would suggest parents, instead of, showing them cartoons, or, showing them vernacular language cartoons, go by a strategy. Like I would like to bring in this aspect that my daughter, she learned majority of her English watching Peppa Pig. The content, there are some serious content devices out there who look into, children specific content and how, it can benefit the child. So I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that parents should make them watch Peppa Pig or something, but please make use of these digital resources in the right manner. And when a teacher is saying that the child needs to practice spellings, now, Charmam, there is a very basic science that is revolved around learning. So if I'm writing from my right hand, all right, the veins and the nerves, they are connected directly to the right side of the brain. All right. And when I'm writing, when I write more, I memorize more. That's the science that I have researched upon. And I have seen there are children out there. I still remember way back in 2021, there was one particular child. She did not know English, and I did not know Kannada. She was from a Kannada background, and she did not know how to speak to me. And I was also finding it very difficult. But slowly I realized that, with the help of basic words, like, when she wanted to use washroom, so, I encouraged her that you say at least two words. Just say wash and room, and maybe I'll understand that you need to go there. So with that practice, uh, at classroom level, even for her support classes, she would not understand what am I trying to say. So I used to write it down, and then I used to explain it to her. And then when I met the parents, they were really happy. We did have an assistant teacher in the classroom who would, speak in Kannada and help me understand what are the parents willing to. You would not believe, in 3 months time the child started speaking basic sentences. Ma'am, may I go and use the washroom? Second thing, peer pressure. All right, my go to strategy in the classroom is making a quick learner and a slow learner sit together. That benefits the child majorly, because a quick learner is able to help the slow learner, overcome these fears. And this peer pressure also plays an important role. So I encourage these students to interact more with each other, and not based on their, economical background or their social
Instead of
background.
using the word, Frenny ma'am, I'll just like to interrupt in between. Instead of
Yes.
using the word peer pressure here, I think the word peer learning would be great.
Absolutely, I
Because
agree. I agree. Peer learning is the correct word. I'm sorry there, my bad. Yeah, I agree.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what I feel, that even I'm trying to learn Kannada. Like since I'm in Bangalore from
Same here.
quite a long time, I'm
Same
trying to
here.
learn Kannada. And the first thing what my friend suggested is that start watching movies in Kannada. Because
Okay.
the more you listen to those words, the more you start understanding and you'll have that confidence to speak. So same thing I
Absolutely.
think you are also trying to tell. that let children watch the cartoons in English language if you want to improve their
Absolutely.
basic English.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just a basic device, like at home, if the child is watching. So I was surprised, when my daughter started watching Doraemon in Kannada. So I was like, wow, she's taking an initiative to learn Kannada as well, because that
That
was
is
a
true.
go-to strategy given by her Kannada teacher. So why not? And I find it very amazing that children these days, in fact, even parents these days are giving importance to learning English. I do have friends who come from a Punjabi background who do not know English so well. Their vocabulary, their diction, pronunciation is not good, but they always tell me that, Frenny ma'am, why don't you have a phonics class for us to understand how to do spellings or how to speak? Help us with diction, some kind of recorded videos if you can help us with, or just take our classes. We are very enthusiastic about learning. So I'm glad that parents are also evolving. They're opening up to the concept of learning English. With due
That is
respect, we need to learn, we need to give importance to all the languages. And one great thing that the NEP, the new education policy that was announced in 2020, they have come up with a methodology where at grade 1 and 2 level, they are giving importance to the mother tongue, that English should not always be first language. In India, we've been following CBSE rule says English has to be taught as first language. But I'm glad with new education policy that has come in, that has kicked in, it's slowly starting that, in various states, mother tongue has been given importance. So they're hiring more teachers who know the mother tongue. Say, for example, in Gujarat, they would
so,
hire a teacher
Pranima, that
who.
will be my next question for you. That will be actually my next question for you. That
Okay.
do you think English should be introduced in early education years, or it should be introduced little later? First, we should
Uh,
focus on mother tongue and then English, or it should go simultaneously. And
it should go.
will
Mhm.
teaching simultaneously will teaching simultaneously, are we giving enough importance to other languages, whether it is Hindi or it is Kannada or it is Marathi or any other language? Our
Okay.
Indian languages, are we giving that much importance when we are learning with that with English?
That's a very valid question, Charu ma'am. So the first part you asked me that, why English should English be taught at early stages or what? Every language has to be given an equal importance. So when a child is born into the family, he or she does not know how to speak, right? The very first language they pick up is their own family language. For example, my daughter picked up Gujarati because we are Gujaratis, right? And we were worried when she turned, age 2, she would not make friends easily because her friends would try to speak to her in Kannada or in English. So I think a mix of both is required. Uh, I think going by the scientific fact, till the age of 14, children can learn three languages at the same time, with maths being a separate logical and reasoning thing. But yes, when it comes to understanding a child's learning graph, at any given point of time till the age of 14, a child can learn English as first language, Hindi as a second language if Hindi is important, and the third language according to the state. It could be Marathi or it could be Kannada. So down south we follow Hindi and Kannada as an option for second and third language, right? So that all depends on the learning curves or the learning graph of the child. But three languages absolutely a child can learn till the age of 14. And as they progress,
All right, Pranima.
more importance can be given to a fourth language as well. A lot of parents are picking up on Spanish and French, even Chinese for that matter. So so CBSE does have that, right? Grade 8,
But
at grade 8 level they are given a choice whether they can pick up back then in our times it was Sanskrit, if you remember. So yeah.
yeah,
Now,
correct.
coming to the second
So,
part of your
Pranima, but
question. Yeah.
question is, my question is that why English has become so important that even in schools, even when we go to some private schools,
Mm-hmm.
we are asking children that accept your language periods, that accept your Hindi period or Kannada period or
Yeah.
Marathi period. You should not talk in those languages. You should talk in English only. Has been
Mm.
English becomes so that important that we just stop our children from talking in those languages?
Not really, Charu ma'am. So if you go to government schools, like I told you, if you go to government schools, they teach in Bangalore, they teach in Kannada. Even the textbooks, I'm surprised. I was seeing my mate's son's textbooks. The English books are in Kannada with only topics and subtopics mentioned in English. So, I
They are
feel
relating that English to Kannada and trying to teach the children. You feel that?
yes, absolutely. They are emphasizing that, that the child should learn Kannada as well, but should know English. Now, why English is important, Charu ma'am? Because that's the way of how you and I speak. Probably you're a Punjabi, I'm a Gujarati. If I start speaking in Gujarati, you would not understand a word of it. So we are communicating at a basic level. Now,
So
yes,
you're trying
families
to say that
should give
English is a connecting
importance.
language between people.
It's a connecting language
So
between
English is
people.
okay. So, but
Yeah.
don't you think nowadays, like English is related to confidence of a person? When we go to some for admission in some school or we go for admission in some college, even if we go for job interviews, all they check is our
Mhm.
English.
Yes.
Sometimes the subject matter does not matter so much, but our interaction skills, like how we are communicating in English, that matters the most.
Yes,
So it has
absolutely.
become like that English is related to the confidence of a person. I know a person who is working in a very like a reputed company, but
Mm-hmm.
all he is worried about is instead of working on his skills, all he is worried about is that my English is not good,
Okay.
and that
Okay.
he feels that that is stopping his promotion, that is stopping his like growth in career. So why English has become important to that extent that we are ignoring everything and all we want to work on is English. And like
Absolutely.
when did
Yes.
English gain so much importance in India that like we are ignoring our languages but we are focusing on English? Is it somewhere related to like British colonialism?
Uh, well, it's a very important question, Charu ma'am. So to break it down for you, when British colonialism happened, Hindi or Sanskrit was our main way of communicating. When Britishers came in, and our if you see, our constitution is also based on English. Our administrative framework, when Britishers left the country, why was it, why was our administrative framework done in English? Why was our constitution written in English? Even our education system, all right, basic English. I think when Britishers came in, and our freedom fighters, they went abroad to study English specifically. Why? To get us that freedom from Britishers. But yes, that benefited us because it opened up channels across the globe for us, right? So English has to be a medium for anybody from any country, from any corner of the earth. English becomes important. um, I would like to share this anecdote with you. One of my cousins, she's teaching English to Chinese students, to Afghani students, through online classes. That's And they're looking at Indian teachers. And why are they looking at Indian teachers? Because Indian teachers are in demand. When Britishers left this country, English became very important, and slowly, gradually, English in metro cities, in tier one, tier two cities also, gained pace. It became very imperative. Now, if you want to get into your IIMs, your IITs, your even, your job interviews, for all of that, English remains a common language on how do you communicate. Now, yes, I do agree that, tier three cities and rural areas, or children who are coming from, various economical backgrounds, they would not speak very well. So for them, there are soft skill trainers out there. My own friend, she was into her father's jewelry business, but she realized she has a flair for training. So she's training these kids in rural areas, even teenagers and adults, on how to speak basic English. Now, for your visa application, so say for example, a farmer, family, and somebody's got an opportunity. A child in the family has had an opportunity to go abroad and study, so he can now, take personality development classes. And what is the first language that they use? English. So I think, Britishers left English for us in a good way, but yes, they took a lot of things from us. but there are positive sides to it. Why English is important? Because we need to connect. Nobody is judging you basis your vocabulary, your pronunciation, but basic English is a must for us to connect at a global level, to be able to, grab a job, to run our families, and not for, show off, or, for just, speaking, oh, I know good English and I'm from an English medium school. Not really. Children are taking up English
But
seriously
Frenny
because
ma'am,
they
here I would like to disagree with you. I'm sorry,
yeah,
here I would like to
no
disagree with
problem.
you. But what I
Mhm.
feel that English has become a symbol of elitism today.
It
I
has,
remember like me
it
be
has.
staying in city when I
Yes,
used to go to my village in childhood. All they used to say is English में बोल के दिखाओ. And when anybody used to visit us, and English में बोल के दिखाओ, and it will be like, हाँ, they are superior to us just because they are talking in English.
yes, yes,
So
absolutely.
it is that people are being judged for not being fluent in English, for not being able to talk in English. But what I feel that yes, that change we cannot bring in. That
We
change
can,
has to come
that
from,
that change only a teacher can bring in, because this
and
is
along with
deeply
that, it
rooted.
has to
It's a
come from
very
the
valid
system also.
question.
It
Mm-hmm.
has to come from the system also. I think one change what they have brought in, like few years back, not few years, many years back, that the board exam paper, it is set in two languages. If you see, one
Yes,
side of that will be in and one side of that will be in English. So they are
English,
trying to bridge
absolutely.
that gap, but I feel that it's going to take lot of time. It is
Lot of
going to
time,
take
a
lot
lot
of
of time. So what happens is, when you mention the word elitism, there are a certain, what happens is our society is divided into various, social stratifications. I don't want to get into the nitty gritties or the details of how, the elite class, and, like they say, cream de la cream. No, I'm not getting into all of that, but it is a deep rooted stigma, specifically in North. I think mostly in Delhi, where, you have these elite class, even in certain areas of Bombay, or Mumbai, let's say.
I think
But
it is everywhere in India. Everywhere in India that yes, if a
okay,
child is able to talk in English, if they are fluent in English, they are too good. No
yeah,
matter how
they
their
they are
other
given more,
skills,
they are given more
they get
importance because they're
ignored.
from an English medium background. Absolutely.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
that's why I say English, though back then, like I'm saying, 20, 25 years ago, English was given an importance as first language. And I'm glad that there are, pros and cons to everything. So new educate the NEP 2020. That's why, they are slowly starting to bring in the mother tongue, so that, child can understand the basic concept, you know, uh, basic concepts of how consonant vowels and consonant words, or digraphs or diphthongs. Now, if I throw these terminology at a grade 1 and 2 child right away, he will get confused, he will get scared कि मैम क्या बोल रही है, मैं मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आया. So that is why we English becomes imperative, because we start our English with ABCD. And once you're aware, at a very basic level, if you're aware of, the sounds of ABCD, that, A makes the sound, B makes the B sound, and, umbrella. Now let me give you this. Uh, uh, I visited Patna very recently. There was a family function, and the children there called the word people as people. And I was surprised why you're, using. I asked my niece, why are you using people? She's like, because this is the way my teacher has taught me. So I think teachers, they play a very important role here in understanding the exact pronunciation, the way it has to be taught, and how, phonics plays an important role in, it's not people, it's people. I met some people, not I met some people. So this is something that, is very tricky. Not many, families understand this, but that is why English is very, very important. Um, Elitism is something that, I feel English should be a bridge, not a barrier, is what I'm trying to say. Now, elitism, yes, of course, that element has been there, that show off, that, oh, I know good English. What do you know? All of that kicks in. So at my classroom level, I can teach at children that, let's not look at, glorifying English. Let's give that importance to all these other subjects or all the other languages as well. So as a teacher, I can make that difference. And if a child picks up that and practices in real life, then I'm sure that elitism factor can be curbed a little. It will not go away. It is a deep rooted thing in Indian subcontinent. People just like to show off. Nothing can be
Right.
done about it. But as teachers, we can inculcate this kind of practice into the classroom. We can tell them that give equal weightage to all the other languages as well.
Exactly my point, that yes, it is a deep rooted thing, but it can be eliminated only by the school, by the teachers, and by the
I would
parents
think so.
when a child is
Absolutely.
growing, right? We need to tell a child that yes, it is a connecting language, it is a very important language, but it is not everything for you. Along with
Absolutely.
being fluent in English, they have to develop a lot of skills. They have to focus on a lot of things. But yes,
Mhm.
give that due importance to English, because at the end of the day, that is a language which is connecting you to the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me also make a mention over here, Charu ma'am, very valid thing that comes to my mind over here is that parents, back then I think our parents were always behind us. तू इंग्लिश क्यों नहीं सीख रही है? देख तेरे फ्रेंड्स इंग्लिश बोल रहे हैं, उसको इतना अच्छा इंग्लिश आता है, तू क्यों नहीं सीख रही है? So I think parents also play an important role. The very first environment of a child is family. So parents need to think it straight that yes, your mother tongue is important, but why English is equally important. Not to push the child to learn English. The basic concept should be learned. That ratification, rote learning, like I mentioned earlier, memorization, just memorize it, just do it. No, let's not just do it with the purpose of putting it into a real life context. So this is where I find our Indian education system is lacking. How to say, for example, maths as a subject. I know my word problem, centimeter, meter, millimeter, kilometer, पर उसको रियल लाइफ में कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करना है is something that we as teachers need to bring into the classroom. And that's where I think the Indian education system fails. To give you a small example, my niece is in Australia. She's in grade 8 out there. The way of learning is very different. While I have my what do you say, fears that she's exposed to technology a lot, but we need to bring in that technology. Now we are on a podcast right now. You will not believe it, a grade 8 child is learning through podcasts in the classroom there in Australia. Why can't we bring in this into schools? We are using smart screens, yes, but what is the real life context explanation that we are giving to the child? What are the skills that we are teaching that enables the child to learn something and
Just one,
imply it
just
in the
one
real life?
second,
Sure,
Prerna.
sure.
Just one. Sorry for the disturbance in between. Somebody had come. Yeah, please continue, Frenny ma'am. Yeah.
So
So
like I
what we
was
were
saying
discussing
that
is,
that Indian
yeah,
education
please
needs to
continue.
system needs to change. Now let me give you an example. So when my daughter and when my niece they are sitting with their iPads, I always tell them that apart from conversation, why don't you learn something from each other? And a simple game of Roblox. I'm nowhere saying that
Hmm.
teach give iPads to your children and give Roblox access to your children, but through Roblox, my child has learned how to devise what do you say, I'm not sure of the exact terminology, but she has learned how to create algorithms. A basic example, how to feed a bone to the dog in the game, and my niece taught her the algorithm to do that. So in that gaming, she has learned something. She picked up something out there. So I feel Indian education system needs to evolve. Um, at grade 8 level, my niece is doing a research on uh, how cloud apps can help children learn faster. So these are the real life things that
No,
are
I,
being taught to them. It's not a
more than
project for
bookish learning,
Mhm.
yeah, more than bookish learning, we need to involve learning in our schools.
We need to
We
look at
can't
we need to look
stick
at a
to
lot
book.
of new things. We need to okay, saying कि हाँ मैंने स्मार्ट स्क्रीन लाके रख दिया अब अभी पढ़ाओ. No, these are not the things that I'm talking about. We need to evolve. We need to move
Children
away
need to learn from their environment. That is what
from
I
their
feel. Children
environment,
need
and
to
they
learn
should
from
be
their
able to
environment.
put it in. They should be able to put it into a real life scenario and research. Our children do not do research. They just open Google. They just type in. Google ने answer दे दिया. Now this is the same answer that I can use. But then there are smart
That is,
parents.
I remember like when they used to give us an essay to write, our teacher
Yeah,
just
yeah,
used to give us a topic, and we used to
yeah,
think that
yeah.
okay, what are the points we can add and all those things. But nowadays, what children do, they just like type the topic on Google, and nowadays a new thing has come, that Chat GPT. Give me an essay
Absolutely.
on this topic, and
Yes.
so what we are doing is we are limiting children. Instead of making them use Chat GPT and Google to learn, make them
Yes.
learn in a fun way.
Yes.
That is
Absolutely.
what we are
Absolutely.
trying to tell. And that is what we used to be followed in India earlier also. That is in Gurukuls also. They used to
Yes.
make children sit in open, and they used to learn from the environment itself. That is the thing
Absolutely.
we have to bring back in India if we want Indian education to
Correct.
evolve.
Correct. Correct.
That is what I feel.
In fact, I remember Charumam back then we used to have summer camps where we, were sent for 3, 4 days. This has stopped now, now with privatization of education system, a lot of schools are into money making business. I think we need to
Summer
have
camp
a
is just
system
all
of,
about the
I'm
summer
sorry.
camp is just all about now that send a child to summer camp is all about
Yes.
just send child to school for some time and keep them
Yes.
away from home, because
Keep
both
them
the
away.
parents are working, they
and
cannot
and
give that
these
time
days
to children.
these days they have these fancy things, a day outing. Instead of the day outing, why don't you send children for summer camps? Like my niece glorifies her summer camps. Every 3 months they are sent to a summer camp, and she comes back with skills that surprises my sister and my brother-in-law. They're like, where did you learn this? She said in the summer camp they taught us how to light fire with 2 stones. That's what a basic thing is. If a child, say for example, tomorrow child has to go abroad, and she's gone out with her friends, and it's very cold out there, how does she protect herself from the cold? That those all things, these are some life skills that you can teach. uh, Parents would not have time, so where do you learn all these things? From school. So the schooling system needs to evolve in India is what I'm trying to say. um, English, non-English is secondary. Life skills is
I
something that our children
completely
really need to
agree with
learn.
you, Frenny, ma'am.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you that yes, the learning is important. Learning English is very very important, but along with learning English, along with all this, they have to teach life skills to our children.
Yes,
Today,
yes,
if
absolutely.
I talk about myself, I am very bad in cooking. I don't know stitching, I don't know anything. Tomorrow if I'm stuck in a situation, all I'm dependent on is people around me.
I get
Like
that. I get
normal, a
that.
button comes out. So all this also needs to be given equal importance. And what we need to
Absolutely.
understand is that along with English, yes, we understand it is a very, very important language. It is a connecting language, but we should not neglect our Indian languages also, our mother
Absolutely,
tongue or
absolutely.
any other language.
Every language has its own importance, and we can see that in the fact that how the global countries are looking at India. So I'm surprised. I recently met this person who is from my husband's company. He's shifted his base from Australia to India. They're in Australia. They are Australian citizens, born and brought up there, but they wanted to do schooling in India. So this guy was telling me that he took up reading Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. All right, and he knows more about Bhagavad Gita than I do. So look at how people are looking at India as a country, not only in terms of English, but in terms of connecting with its roots, with its culture, with its values. A lot of people are learning yoga. Yoga is something that has come from India, right? How does a yoga trainer connect with the
That
global country that are teaching global? It's English. So I'm not saying, won't give importance only to
unfortunately,
English. Give
Indians don't
importance
give that.
to every language.
Correct. Unfortunately, we Indians don't give importance to our Indian culture things that much.
Absolutely,
That is
absolutely.
happening.
Yeah, yeah. So
We are
I
being
still
influenced by
believe
Western
there is a
culture.
long way to go. We are just, praising robots. In today's times, to be really honest, we are just raising robots. We are not uh, raising children to, learn life skills, like I said, basic things. But it's just rote learning, and rote learning. We need to move away from that. Uh, I don't know how English can contribute here, but yes, I do believe that when I go into my classroom, I inculcate life skills along with my all right, the concept learning. I would in a 45-minute class, I would give importance to teaching concept learning, the basic learning, 15 to 20 minutes. Rest my activities or whatever I have planned. I believe that there is some life skill learning that every subject, every language can bring in.
So this is a never-ending conversation, Freddy ma'am. This
Yes,
conversation we can continue like for 20 minutes also.
absolutely,
At the
absolutely.
conclusion, what we need to get into is that yes, every skill, every language is important. But today we need to give more importance to English because yes, it is connecting you to the world. It's
Yes,
connecting you to the
absolutely.
world. And
Yes,
for now, English is a medium that you can help, that you can use for your growth, right?
yes,
So,
absolutely,
Frenny ma'am,
absolutely.
last question for you. That what
Yes.
are the apps or what are the things like any app for a person who is like into corporate now or into any like in their old age now, but they want to learn English. So, any suggestions you would like to give them?
Yes, yes, there is an app, Kahoot. It's spelled as Kahoot. It has games around vocabulary. Any age level can use it. Not only children, even at old age, even a 80-year-old can use this app to enhance their vocabulary. Um, another one that comes to my mind. This is for teachers. There's an app called Teachy, Teachy. It's a wonderful app. If you sit at least half an hour with the app, you can devise a lesson plan according to your syllabus in just that half an hour for an entire year. Everyone must try Kahoot for vocabulary, like I said, and Teachy is for teachers. For kids, there are multiple YouTube tutorials out there. I myself am looking at starting something, and I hope I'm able to, reach my whole idea is to reach even the rural areas. So I'm looking at some kind of social media tool where I can engage not only children, not only I'm looking at varied age groups that I can help them understand how English works and help them understand how English can help them in their daily lives.
So thank you for such a eye-opening conversation, Prini ma'am. It was really great talking to you. And I hope our viewers also enjoyed it. And our viewers, actually, we have started like our viewers can ask us the questions in comment box or they can directly message to us. So two
Yes,
questions we have already included in our conversation. The first question was
yes,
like, why you chose English as a career. And the second
yes,
question is like I asked you that when parents are not fluent in English, how
yeah.
they can support the children. I hope they got their answers.
Absolutely.
So
In
thank you
fact,
so much, Frenny ma'am.
yeah, I would
Our
like to thank you,
conversation was
Charu ma'am,
awesome.
because I hope we are able to motivate teachers more than parents and kids. I want teachers to, motivate. I feel in India, teachers are not valued. If you go global countries, there is a demand for teachers. So thank you so much for having me here. I would like to, leave with a word for parents, for teachers, for students. Learning never stops. Keep learning, at the
That
age
is
of
true.
42, if I, can do my B.Ed and I can become a teacher, leaving my lucrative marketing career, because I found my calling and the connect with children, because these are our future leaders, right? So please do not leave learning at any point of time. Even if you're 80 years old or a 90-year-old, you can learn English in the most simplest ways. It's no rocket science. English is a very simple language. And thank you so much for having me today. Uh, I hope I have answered everything up to the expectations, and I'm really looking forward to our viewers asking me and reaching me out. They can do so via your comments, via my mentor. You're doing a wonderful job as well, Charu ma'am. I should appreciate that you have been able to do this for our learners. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Frenny ma'am. It was really great talking to you. And
Same here. Same
I
here.
hope we we will be able to help you with your YouTube channel, with your Instagram page. And
Yes,
I got to know that you have opened your WhatsApp channel also, where you keep posting videos about phonics and all. We'll add
yes,
those
yes.
links in our description. Let
Sure.
parents join, let children join, let them learn with you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Penny.
All my videos, all my content is absolutely free of cost. The whole idea is to reach every hook, nook, and corner of the country so that people can learn. Yeah. Thank you so much, Charu ma'am. Thank you once again. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Penny. Have a nice day.